Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we will be local nursery plant shopping at North Haven Gardens in Dallas, Texas. As always, please make sure you're hitting that like button and checking out my Instagram at Grow Folds. Today I will be meeting up with a plant foldie. Her name is Gloria, and I actually met her out at Callaway's nursery the other day, but I decided that I would be able to go ahead and get a specific plant for her, which would be a Monstera Thai constellation. But anyways, I am just going to go do a little quick turnaround trip around this greenhouse here. You already know that North Haven Gardens is an absolute gem when it comes to plants in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They just have a variety of different types of plants, and so I wanted to just show you all of the plants that they have in the indoor section, tropical section, as well as the outdoor section. You can see right over here, this was a plant I wanted to get. This is a wax ivy, and as you can see, it looks like a Hydra helix or a Hedera helix English ivy, but it is actually a Senecio or a succulent type plant. Notice how it really does look like an English ivy. It's just amazing that it has all the characteristics of an English ivy in terms of its shape and color, but it is a succulent plant. And then over here, we've got a really cool looking bromelia. This one is more of an uncommon one. I know we see bromeliads often at like big box stores and local plant nurseries, but this is one particular variety that I don't often see at a big box, or actually this is the only place I've seen it. And then right over here, we've got a bunch of flame violets, or what you call especias. Now, these are super cool plants. I actually want to get one of these today as a starter plant because they have the green variety as well. Now, the flowers on these especia would be a hot pink bloom, which I think is really cool. That, you know, this plant, which has some amazing foliage and texture, like you can see that it's got a metallic shine to it, also has some bloom interest. So with this particular plant, it is similar to an African violet. You really don't want to get the leaves wet. If possible, you want to just bottom water it, and also, as far as like watering, you want to make sure that the soil remains moist. You don't want it to let it dry out too much, because it is more of that African violet type of plant. Notice how the soil is fairly moist as I pick up this especia or flame violet. What I like about these starter plants is you can actually buy several of them and create a fuller plant. But as you can see here, North Havens has quite a bit of these especias. I like that they have a variety of different types of plants. And on this table right over here, they've got a bunch of African violets. And African violets, a lot of people will say that this is like the grandmother type plant. You know, a lot of grandmothers grow these. But honestly, I think that these African violets, only for $8.99, need to be more of a common plant for everybody. They're easy to take care of. They do need bright indirect light. Their soil needs to be a little bit more, remain a little bit more moist. I have been able to get away with not keeping the soil as moist, but I wouldn't recommend that. Now, African violets do love some humidity, but in terms of just watering the African violet, you do not want to get the leaves wet. You don't want to get the stems wet. Otherwise, they will rot off very easily. So that's the only drawback about African violets, is that they are water sensitive. And you can see here, these are the variegated African violets. This one is called flamboyant. Really like that variegation on the edges of the leaves. You know, with African violets, they come in so many different hybridized varieties. And this particular one right here, these African violets that North Haven has, sources out from a Texas grower, which I think is really cool. A lot of the local plant nurseries actually in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which is where I am based at, actually source from that same African violet. And to my plant foldies, and for those that are new to the channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. I originally had an origami ASMR channel, which I converted back into a plant channel, and that is the reason why I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. If you made it this far, please make sure you are hitting that like button. It does help the video out substantially, as well as leaving comments in the comment section during the premiere or during or when you're actually just watching it, you can do timestamps, so you can ask me specific questions about a plant and I'll be able to refer to it. But as you can see here, there's a lot of starter plants for African violets. I would actually buy this starter plant right here. This one is only for $4.99. This variegated African violet looks super cool. And I remember when my grandmother was growing African violets, and she's really the source of the reason why I'm into plants. She had a bunch of African violets. I had never really seen a variegated African violet until recently, so I thought that was really cool. I'm assuming that some of these variegated varieties are varieties that just recently came about. You can see over here they've got a whole table of bromeliads. Now these are more of the uncommon bromeliads. You don't see, like this one right here is more of a columnar or columnar type form. Look at that. It looks like just a pillar, and it has some really nice coloration there. Now this one is quite expensive though. This one I believe is for $59.99. I would like to add more bromeliads to my plant collection. I just need to know a little bit more about them, so I'm going to do a little bit more research. Now, for those that know quite a bit about bromeliads, please leave in the comments. You know, I like to give you guys my insights in terms of like plant care, but I have learned so much from our plant foldy community. So feel free to exercise your plant expertise, as I love learning from you as well. That's the beauty of our plant foldy community. We have a daily live premiere chat, at least for 1 hour. And so if you're into that type of content, if you want to socialize with other plant lovers like myself and those that are watching this video, definitely join the live premiere chats. I typically try to have my live premiere chats around 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Sometimes it's a little bit off, but you'll see that some of my videos, my marathon compilation videos, are already set and scheduled for July and late June. I will be taking a vacation to my home country, which is the Philippines, and so I won't be able to actually do a lot of like plant shopping videos currently heading in, you know, while I'm at that time. I'd like to enjoy my vacation, but have no fear, I will be filming many content on the Philippines as far as like their nurseries and plants. So definitely take a look at that. And you can see over here, we've got a bunch of blooming Anthuriums. So I really love the blooming Anthuriums. A lot of my Anthurium plants are actually grown in straight hydroponic. So what that means is I actually have the plant growing in straight water with some plant nutrients. I find that in my current schedule of just how I take care of my plants, I don't always have the time to water all of my plants. Literally, I have added over maybe say 80 to 100 plants into my plant collection at home, which is quite a bit. But you know, with that being said, I don't have the time to water all of them. So whenever I put them in hydroponic or convert them in a water only type of substrate, I am able to, you know, keep them alive, because then I don't have to really worry about keeping them watered because they're already in water. Plants that really do well for me, at least when it comes to hydroponic growing conditions, would be Calatheas. Now with Calatheas, you already know that Calatheas need to have their soil moist. They don't really like to dry out completely, and their water needs to not be hard tap water. They prefer more purified water. So hydroponics works for me. But you can see here, we've just got a lot of beautiful Anthuriums here. I do like that some of these Anthuriums have like that dark chocolate color foliage on the leaves, and honestly I prefer more so the foliage versus the actual blooms on the Anthurium. Call me crazy, but I thought that was actually interesting. So you can see over here they've got different varieties of blooms. I do like the white Anthuriums. Now I believe these Anthuriums are for $16.99. So if you would like Anthuriums, you can find them at a local plant nursery like North Haven Gardens, or you can go big box store plant shopping and you can get them for more cost-effective pricing. This one right here is a parachute plant hanging basket. I think that the name is really cool. You can see that it is already trailing. I would assume that the parachute plant is more of a succulent type plant. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then you can just see right here, we've got more Anthuriums. Look at how large this white Anthurium bloom is. Now the bloom is actually the yellow part and not actually the colored part. That I believe is actually the leaf as well. It's kind of close to like poinsettias. But you can see over here, we also have a variegated Anthurium Hoken mint. So that's pretty cool. Now these are by Proven Winner collector's plants. This one is, I believe, $49.99 or $59.99. It is a beautiful Anthurium. The only thing about Anthuriums, the ones that are more like hybridized and not as common, is they are a little bit more of a advanced houseplant collector plant because they require higher humidity conditions. They need a lot of bright indirect light. It's the humidity that makes it a little bit more challenging of a plant. A lot of people will grow these like rare and uncommon Anthuriums in cabinets, because the cabinet can hold a lot of like humidity. So that's something that I haven't really ventured into. I know that I have a couple of plant foldies that are going to start doing that. Specifically, Steven at I Lift Plants, he is going to start growing some of his philodendron in a cabinet. So I'm really interested to see what that process will look like for him. And then over there, you can see that they have some beautiful red chrysanthemum. They remind me of very colorful Sansevieria bird's nests. And then you can see, speaking of Sansevieria, they've got a full table of Sansevieria right over here. And they just have a bunch of succulents and cacti. But I was really excited to meet Gloria. And then I was able to like get her a wish list plant for her daughter-in-law. So I'm really happy that I was able to get that. You know, we met up here, got to be able to chat. And, you know, meeting people that actually watch my videos daily, it's very inspiring. I'm very grateful, and I'm very humbled that you all take the time to watch my live premieres. I know that I've done a couple of compilations with some of my you know, past content, but you know, I still see such a strong showing when it comes to just the community tuning in and watching my videos. And you know, meeting Gloria and her just mentioning how she watches my videos daily, how she looks for my my premieres, and if I don't show up, you know, there, you know, she's just looking for me. I didn't realize that the impact I had for our plant foldy community. And when I say this, I am just very, very thankful that you guys haven't lost any interest in my content and continue to grow this community. You can see over here all of the plants that Gloria is about to purchase. You can see that I influenced her on getting a wax ivy, or she actually wanted to get one. She did offer to share it, but I said that she needs to just let it grow out a little bit more. But look at how beautiful that wax ivy is. She also purchased some Colus plants, and she bought some Especia and some herbs. But I really do like that Colus plant that she got, that pink one, and also that campfire Colus plant that she got. She also got the wedding trail Colus plant, which is the one that's more trailing. So I thought that was really cool. We're currently in the greenhouse and we're just chatting away about plants and just the kind of plants she likes. Now, Gloria mentioned she loves growing philodendron, and we discussed how once I create the Facebook page for the Grow Folds plant community, we'll be able to like really connect with local plant foldies, or even foldies, plant foldies all around the nation and even internationally. And perhaps we can even do like plant swaps, you know, offer free cuttings. I am so thankful that Gloria was able to give me some gifts. She gave me a Monstera Peru because she knew that I was looking for the Monstera Peru. Super cool, because she already had it on like a pole growing up. And she was able to get me a Monstera Studliana. And so I was just super excited about all of the plants that she was able to get me. So thank you to Gloria. And if you're watching this, Gloria, I appreciate you so much. And then you can see here, I'm just kind of look at some of these plants. I am going to go into detail a little bit later into the plants, but you can see here that is a devil's backbone, and then we've got a Sansevieria here. These are all of the bird's nest Sansevierias. Now, I don't really grow a lot of snake plants. You know, a lot of people will say snake plants are easy to grow, but for some reason, for me, they don't grow as easily. I think it's because I just don't water them. And, you know, when you don't water a plant, they get what they call dry rot. But basically, the roots just dry out completely, and then they end up rotting. So, you know, that is another situation for me. And that's the thing about plant care, plant shopping, plant collecting. You've really got to hone into the amount of time you have that you can invest into your plants, the space you have, the environment and lighting conditions you put these plants in, and then just the overall time to check for like pest, watering, repotting, And even the most important is just being able to admire your plants. So like I have caught myself just really being more overwhelmed, if I'm being transparent, about just how many plants I have, that to the point where I don't even have time to really admire them, sit down and slow down and be mindful about the plants I have. So I am making some adjustments to just my lifestyle. You know, I may not get as many live premieres daily. I may rely on some of my compilation videos to really give us that daily content. But you know, either way, it is all about making those adjustments when it comes to your plants. You can see over here, lots of beautiful wax ivy. So the thing about wax ivy, and the thing I've learned about ivy or wax ivy, or even just succulents, actually, because this is a succulent plant, I thought that succulents could just go into full sun, and that is not necessarily the case. By default, I think a lot of plants do better in bright indirect light, especially like morning sun. So that's why if I ever get a wax ivy like this, I am going to just grow them in a more bright indirect light. I may end up getting some succulents in here today, but we'll see. But I know with these ones right here, these are only for $16.99 because they're not the hanging basket kinds. I'll eventually get that. And then you can see right here, this is a beautiful Hoya publicaic splash. Now for all of my plant foldies that love Hoyas, this one is only for $24.99. What a beautiful Hoya. I want to try to feature some of these Hoyas for you guys today, because when I go to a big box store plant shopping, and that's what really the majority of all of my plant videos, my plant shopping videos, is big box stores. I don't really see a lot of Hoyas. I will see the Hoya carnosa, and that's basically it. Maybe a Hoya wyetii, but overall not that many Hoyas. Now you can see here, this is that silver band marantha. So this particular marantha or prayer plant used to be one that was a little bit more challenging to find at stores. Now you can find them at local plant nurseries. Big box stores have offered them. I was told, and I have a lot of Canadian plant foldies, shout out to my Canadian plant foldies, that the silver band marantha is one that wasn't really common in Canada. But you can see right here, this is Gloria's plant haul. What she was really excited about was she was able to find a Sansevieria whale fin, or a snake plant whale fin, and so that was her haul. She ended up leaving, but I did want to keep filming. And this is the cafe called the Ralph and Rose Cafe that is located in North Haven Gardens. So if you want some pastries, or you want to get some nice coffee, this is a beautiful cafe. And this cafe offers a lot of like decor, beautiful decor, plant themed stuff, as well as just other beautiful candles and books. So I did want to just take a little bit of time to show you this. It is a little bit cloudy. I do think it is going to rain on me while I am plant shopping at North Haven Gardens, but we will see. I mean, you can even see here what a beautiful syngonium. This might be a Syngonium neon robusta in a beautiful checkered planter. That's a checkered planter. I really like the look of that. This is a beautiful syngonium, and it is nice and full. I love the pink color on it, but I do love all of the gorgeous decorations and just having this unique cafe available at North Haven Gardens is really cool. A lot of people end up just getting coffee, getting some lunch here. So I just wanted to take a look, show you guys what an awesome looking cafe this is, that's located in North Haven Gardens. You can see right here, they've got a Philodendron orchid right here. Now, again, with Philodendron orchids, they tend to do better in neglect. You don't really want to overwater them. So that's one thing I would say about like Philodendron orchids. And then you can see they've just got some plant styling here. Like they've just got a simple Epipremnum aureum neon pothos here. Gotta love that, in a really cool planter. And you can see that's the cafe area where you can place an order in. I thought about getting me maybe a slice of cake or something of that nature. And that's the thing about plant shopping, plant foldies. I just find it so relaxing, so therapeutic. I have a very challenging job, a very demanding job, but being able to make these videos and just go plant shopping and showing you guys all of the beautiful places I can show you in terms of where to buy plants in the DFW area, it's really fun. And you can see right here, this is the Ralph and Rose Cafe, and you can see that the clouds are starting to look like it is going to rain. So I am going to feature as many of the outdoor plants as possible. Now, since it is late spring heading into summer, You know, I love plants. I mention this in every video. The love of plants is spans beyond just the indoor tropical plants. I love outdoor plants, outdoor gardening, outdoor landscaping, you name it, I'm in it. I'm ready for it. And plant foldies, I am curious, and I do ask these questions because I really want to see what you guys have to say in the comment section. Do you also do outdoor gardening? If so, what plants do you grow? Do you also have like a specific type of outdoor plant that you like? Lately, I've been doing a lot of container gardening just because I didn't really want to invest too much time this year working on my landscape. I do have quite a bit of lantana growing in my landscape, and they're doing fabulous. But you can see here, you already know that this is a grow folds video, and that means I will feature Colus plants. So this is a Colus wasabi right over here. All of these quart plants here are only for $7.99, so I think that is an amazing deal. Now this might be $12.99, but the quart size ones are $7.99. It's a beautiful annual, and what that means is you can grow Colus as an annual in your landscape, meaning that they will die off, so you'll have to buy them next year. But what I love about Colus plants, especially that wasabi, is the different types of colors, varieties, growth patterns. Like this one right here is more of a trailing type Colus plant. It's got more dwarf compact leaves. This is called the Colus wedding train. So I think that's really cool. I ended up buying that actually, and I have an extensive Colus collection. Now plant foldies, I know I have mentioned a lot of times that I will be doing a Colus plant tour. I will be doing that especially before I go on vacation to the Philippines, so stay tuned for that. Now here we've got a Colus kiwi fern. What a cool looking Colus. You can see that they've got a darker foliage Colus plant, and there's so many different varieties. Now most people will not think that a Colus plant is an indoor house plant. It can be. You can grow Colus plants indoors. They're very versatile actually, and if you have Instagram, I hope that you do. A lot of my other additional content, you'll get a lot of my life updates on my stories. So if you don't have an Instagram account, maybe consider making one so you can see all of the different types of plant content. I update that a little bit more frequently than my YouTube, but to go back to that, Instagram has a lot of European Instagram accounts that have people who love Colus plants. In Europe, they call it the palette leaf plant. And when I say that people have been able to make them into like tree form, what they do is they'll take a Colus plant and they actually will remove the lower leaves and let it just keep growing as tall as they want it. And once they get it to a certain height, they chop the top off, propagate the cutting, and then you get a new plant, but it actually encourages out more branching. Now this one right here is a Colus mini me watermelon. This is one that I don't have. I may end up getting it, and that's the thing, plant foldies. If I ever find a Colus that's not in my current collection, I always buy it. So I may end up getting this Colus plant right here. This one is actually a smaller variety of Colus plant. So they've got dwarf varieties as well. I like all of the varieties, but the dwarf varieties, I might end up even growing in a bonsai container. So there's, you know, other ways to be able to grow that plant. Now this one right here is a Colus flamethrower habanero or arbanero. This one is actually a Colus that can grow in full sun. So certain Colus plants can grow in full sun, but the majority of them prefer to be in bright indirect light. They don't want to be in full sun. And I will say, even with this Colus Glassworks Luminous, this one has some beautiful pink. You want to get it as much bright indirect light as possible. The only drawback about Colus plant that I would say is it needs a lot of water. So literally, you don't want your Colus plants to dry out completely. I would say they need to be watered on a daily basis if you're growing them outside. For me, I have to water them twice a day, in the morning before I go to work, and then after I get home from work in the early evening, because they will start to droop. And if you let them droop too long, they start to crisp up, and then that's when you get into trouble. But Colus plants in general are very easy to care for plants aside from the watering. That's the only thing that I dislike about Colus plants, but otherwise I would recommend it for a lot of people that may not have known Colus plants. You know, I would say the majority of people who grow indoor tropical plants are looking for like the philodendrons. You know, I get it, but you know, Philodendron did come from the outdoors as well as like Coleus plants. It just so happens that Coleus plants are more so of like a flower bed type plant or a container outdoor patio plant. But I'm telling you, these plants are so easy to take care of and I love them so much. But anyways, I am just taking a little bit of time to show you these Coleus plants right over here, and you can see that North Haven Gardens has actually care tips for it. You can see that it is starting to get leggy on some of them, and the thing about Coleus plants is you want to pinch them back. You can pinch off some of the new leaves so you can actually promote more growth from the bottom section. It'll actually activate some more grow points, and you can see right here, these are some of the Coleus plants that these pieces fell off. You can actually take some of the bottom part of that off, stick it in water, and you'll get a new plant. I may ask the North Haven staff if I could just take those home since they're already going to be thrown away, to get another free plant, but we'll see. I actually saw this one YouTube video called How to Get Plants Prop Lifting, and it had like over 2 million views. So if you haven't checked that out, check it out. It's really interesting because the content creator actually mentioned how she'll go into like a local plant nursery or a big box store and ask for some of these pieces that have broken off the plant. So really interesting. I don't know, I wouldn't necessarily recommend going into the stores with that intent, but with that being said, Coleus plants are very easy to propagate. You can literally take a cutting. This one I am going to definitely buy. This is only for $1.99, and I love the fact that North Haven Gardens has some pretty cost-effective pricing, especially for a local plant nursery. You know, local plant nurseries, small businesses are sometimes critiqued because they have higher pricing than a big box store, but you have to understand that they have to mark up their plants a little bit more to make it a little bit more profitable. You know, big box stores, they get better deals when it comes to that because they're sourcing out tons and tons of plants. Either way, you know, wherever you get your plants, I always recommend going plant shopping, but also canvassing the plant pricing. Like this one right here is a Coleus wasabi, and then this is just a common Coleus. I don't even know the name for this one, but these are all for $1.99. So even that Coleus wasabi that I picked up at Walmart, you can buy them for $5.98, but that same size one that I picked up is $1.99. So I wouldn't necessarily say that big box stores have the most cost-effective pricing. It's literally you just doing some plant shopping and seeing if you get lucky and finding a really good deal. So if you are somebody that lives out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and wants to stay in touch with like what plants are out in our area and plant pricing, I recommend, you know, hitting the subscribe button with the notification bell on so you are constantly tuned in to the current plant pricing we have for these plants. I have noticed a big upswing on just how many subscribers we have, so I really appreciate those that have taken the time to subscribe to the channel. Know that I'm gonna continue to give you guys some consistent plant content daily, and so I ask that all you have to do is make sure you are hitting that like button for this video, leaving comments, as many comments as you want. I promise you I will reply to the comments. I love seeing the comments, and if you are wondering what you can do to really support my efforts, I mean, it does take me about 5 hours daily to film the video, edit the video, do the voiceover, save the video and upload the video, create the thumbnail so we can have that daily content. So the only thing I ask in return, if possible, is just a quick like for my video as well as a comment. I'd really appreciate that. It'll validate that I'm actually doing a pretty good job giving you guys these plant shopping videos. But you can see right over here, I am feeling the rain a little bit. It is starting to pick up, but I want to try to capture just a little bit more plants before I head back into the outdoor section. Now, one area I wanted to show you now are these caladiums. So I love caladiums. Caladiums are the colorful version of an Alocasia, or I consider them to be a colorful version of the Alocasia. Look at how beautiful the leaves are. And what I love about caladiums is they have a lot of pink varieties. And you already know I love pink plants, pink variegated plants. They are a thing for me, and I am just in love with them. The thing about caladiums is caladiums need to be grown more so in a shaded area where they can just get bright and direct light. I would say if you're going to grow caladiums indoors, and there are some people that are growing caladiums indoors, I will attempt to do that. They need to be put in a sunny, bright area, either east-facing window where they just get that morning sun. You can supplement caladiums as well with a grow light, so that way they don't just go into dormancy. And then over here, we've got a bunch of Calacasias right here, different varieties of Calacasias. This one right here is a tropical storm. I think that's what it's called. Let's see, this is a tropical storm, Calacasia. So they are very similar to Alocasia, and these are all for $14.99. I do like this dark one right here. This one is a black one that we have, and I like dark foliage plants. You know, I talk about dark foliage plants. There's just a level of elegance when it comes to dark foliage plants, and that's something that I like to collect. I like to collect pink plants, dark foliage plants, and then if you're going to ask me variegation, I really like that green on green variegation. But you can see here, the good thing about plant shopping when it is about to rain is you get a nice cool breeze. It is about to rain, but you know, if you live in North Dallas, which is where I'm based at, it is so hot. It has gotten so hot. Literally, I am baking every day because it's like 95, 98 degrees there. And then also last year, I remember it was just over 100 degrees for several months straight with no rain. I am happy that we've gotten quite a bit of rain this year. We do need the water. We need the rain. And for us plant lovers, you already know that rainwater is the best water to water your plants with. I did want to show you guys some of these water features. So North Haven Gardens also has plants that you can grow in ponds or water fixtures like this. I remember having a little fountain where I grew a couple of fancy goldfish, and that's another hobby of mine that I haven't really talked about is I love Japanese fancy goldfish or Chinese goldfish. I remember getting some of them that were imported to grow in my little pond that I had in my patio. Unfortunately, there is a lot of care that takes place when you're growing goldfish, because they are a very messy fish. So you're constantly having to change the water. And so I decided that I just didn't have the time to really invest in pets. So it's the same thing with plants. Really be aware and cognizant of like the amount of time you have for your plant care. I've been told by some of my plant folies that they take an entire day to really take care of their plants, and I commend you for that. I probably need to take a whole day to take care of my plants. I just so happen to have a very busy schedule. But anyways, I digress and go back to the plants. We have right here these native hibiscus. So these are all for $12.99, and I may end up getting a native hibiscus because these plants can actually be grown in my grow zone landscape area. My grow zone is 8B, and these are considered a perennial in grow zone 8B. And what that means is if it is a plant that is a perennial, the plant will actually grow for an entire growing cycle. So spring, summer, fall, and they'll die off in the winter when it gets cold, but they will come back in either spring, late spring, or summer and give you the same plant vibes that you got when you first planted them in the landscape. This is one that I actually want to buy, is this swirl pink hibiscus. This one right here, look at how beautiful the bloom is. And again, this is only for $12.99. That is not a bad price at all. If I were to buy this though, I would buy it and grow it in a container. My current hibiscus that I have, which is a variegated hibiscus called the Salsa Dancer, is in a 12-inch planter from IKEA. I want to try to keep it alive and put it inside to overwinterize it, because I do love that variegation on the hibiscus. And then you can see right over here again, I am going to revisit this and show you the beautiful coleus plant. That one is a Kong coleus. So any coleus that are called Kong are larger leaf coleus plants. And you can just see right here, these are all for $1.99, except this one right here. Well, actually, yeah, that's $1.99 as well. So I love that North Haven has some really cost-effective pricing for some of these Coleus plants. And if you buy a Coleus plant, they are so easy to propagate. You can literally just cut a piece off of it, even if you don't have a node necessarily, and it will root. So that's the thing about Coleus plants. I did start water propagating them, but honestly, Coleus plants are easy to just grow in straight soil. So you can even bypass even water propagating them and just putting them in straight soil. Now, if you propagate a Coleus plant, you want to make sure that you keep the soil moist, you water it, and you'll have a new one. Love Coleus plants. Again, they are an easy to care for plant. The only thing about Coleus plants is you have to make sure you are watering them on a daily basis. But as you can see here, I'm just walking through a lot of these outdoor plants at North Haven Gardens. You can see that it is raining. I am getting wet, but for the sake of our plant folding community, I will definitely do that. And also just for me, because I can't help but look at all of these beautiful plants, these outdoor plants. Some people are really not into outdoor plants, but I don't know. I just think that plant shopping, I think that we should enjoy plants for what they are, for their conditions that they give us, and just the variety of different types of plants. So I hope that you watching my plant shopping videos has opened your, opened you up to different types of varieties of plants, like these Alternatera, for instance. I love that neon foliage that they have. I'm actually growing it in a container with the hopes of being able to grow that indoors. And then that purple Persian shield right here. These are so beautiful. Now mine isn't doing as well. It hasn't died, but it's not as purple and as lush and full as this one. This one is only for $7.99, and I'm actually tempted to buy it. Let me know in the comments what you think about the Persian purple shield plant. I know some people say that it always kind of breaks their heart because it ends up dying on them, but what a beautiful purple plant. Like, this is a legitimate purple plant here, and it's one that I would recommend growing outdoors, obviously, because that one is more of an outdoor type of plant. It doesn't like to be in full sun. It prefers to be in shade. As always, you want to make sure that you are giving it that bright indirect light. Morning sun is best. Protection from the afternoon sun is also best. So you can see here, we do have some Fatsa japonica, or Japanese Aurelias. We've got a bunch of Encore azaleas. We've got some camellias right here. All of the plants I just mentioned all like a more acidic soils. And then we have another Coleus here. I believe this will either be the Coleus Campfire or Ruby Slippers. And then you can just see it is starting to pick up on the rain. So I'm probably going to need to get in to an area that is not going to rain on me. My hair is already wet, but I don't mind it because the other day it was pretty hot. So I'm glad that we get that rain to just cool down the environment in Texas, because I'm telling you, summer is just ridiculous when it comes to just how hot it is. That is one of the drawbacks about living in Texas. So plant foliage, you can see right over here, we've got a bunch of beautiful Japanese maples, or what you call Acer palmatum. I would say North Haven Gardens, as far as like a local nursery, has some of the best Japanese maple selections. This is another type of plant that I love growing. I love collecting maples, specifically Japanese maples, but I'll collect trident maples and other types of maples. I do like the variegation on this one. For instance, it's got that green on green variegation, but that is another type of content I would love to just create for you guys, because there are a lot of people who love Japanese maples. Now, one local plant nursery I would say is Metro Maples. If you love Japanese maples, go to Metro Maples in Fort Worth, Texas. My friend Scott Hubble owns that nursery, and it is fabulous. It is literally another beautiful maple paradise. You have to see it. I also buy my Japanese maples online if I have to from Mr. Maple. They are an awesome a mail order Japanese maple area. But as you can see here, many different plants. I'm just going to quickly walk through this area right here and just see what we have. But as you can see, it is really starting to pour. So I'm going to go into an area that doesn't, that's a little bit more sheltered, so I can show you these plants. You can see here, we've got another Coleus plant. And I am hungry and thirsty, so I am going to probably get some food after I do this plant shopping video. But you can see that beautiful Coleus wasabi right there, that green one. It is starting to really pour, but you know what? That is really good for the plants outside. Rainwater is probably the best type of water you can give plants. They are the most pure ones. I will say, I can see that as well. Finally found some area that had a little bit more shelter outside, so I'm going to feature these copper leaf plants. So the last time I went to North Haven Gardens, I ended up buying this copper leaf plant. I love the variegation on this. Now this is another plant that is considered a perennial in some grow zones. Now I think for my grow zone it may not be a perennial, and you can see right over here we've got a Hydra helix. Now, I know you guys love counting how many times I say Hedera helix, which is the correct way to say it, or English ivy. This one is for $24.99 in a hanging basket. I do like this particular English ivy because it has a unique looking leaf shape. English ivy are considered invasive when they are put into the ground. Now for Texas, I don't know if they will actually survive, but I know in England, I've been told that they are just very invasive and everywhere. So hence the name English ivy, I suppose. But look at how beautiful this copper leaf plant is. It is a plant that can get very large, and I just love the variegation on it. So I may end up getting another one that might be a little bit more highly variegated. Now, the thing about variegated plants, the more white or variegation it has, the slower the plant will grow. It just doesn't have that green to get that chlorophyll and to be able to really photosynthesize and feed itself. But, just like many of you guys, I too love variegated plants. I do find them interesting, but at the same time, I do appreciate the beauty of just a simple green plant. So it's just, I'm kind of torn when it comes to just the aesthetics and looks. I know most people will gravitate to a variegated plant versus just a common like green variety or solid color. I have learned to love both because they both have their pros and cons. And you can see right here, cordyline Hawaiian tea plant. Now, I don't remember this. I think this is a cordyline sherbet. This one I think is for $39.99. You can see that the water is starting to really pour, but I do like the fact that North Havens has different types of cordyline tea plants. This one right here has more like a rounder, wide shape on the leaves. Not sure what that particular cordyline plant is. And then that purple one is more of that common cordyline Hawaiian tea plant there. And you can see here, I believe this one might be the sherbet. I'm not 100% sure. It is a beautiful plant. The thing about cordyline Hawaiian tea plant is you have to really grow them outdoors outdoors versus indoors, just because they typically get spider mites when grown indoors, which is unfortunate. But hence, some people might be able to grow them successfully. I was told by my friend Shelly, who actually runs the Plants and Planters nursery out in Richardson, Texas, that whenever you're bringing a plant indoors, sometimes the health is compromised because it doesn't have the optimal growing conditions. And the thing about plants is you only really see them get pests when they are not as healthy. What I mean by that is if they're overwatered, their roots are not healthy, or if they're underwater, they're thirsty. And that's what, maybe plants provide that pheromone where pests are more susceptible to attack it. And so that's why, like, even with the cordyline Hawaiian tea plant, if you're bringing it indoors, it may just not be happy in general. And that's the reason why it gets those spider mites. But you can see it is raining, so I am going to brave the rain so I can get into the tropical greenhouse. I will say the tropical greenhouse at North Haven Gardens is an amazing one because they are constantly restocking plants, and it is a pretty good section. And that's the thing about Dallas Fort Worth local plant nurseries. I want to be able to feature them because I feel like local plant nurseries and small businesses as well need the recognition just as much as big box stores. I don't really have anything against big box stores, but the thing about big box stores is you'll see the same type of plants that are being offered versus like a local plant nursery or even a small business where they have some pretty unique looking plants. Like this one right here, this is a herbstii bloodleaf plant. I have the red variety. Now Now, I ended up buying this actually at Home Depot because I wanted to grow it. It's also another plant that's very similar into the plant care of a Coleus plant. Now, this one I'm definitely going to buy today. This is a Herbstii bloodleaf plant, but the green-yellow variety. I love the veining on that, and that would be another plant that I would grow. It is a pretty easy plant to take care of. It can tolerate higher light conditions. Actually, to get that beautiful coloration, you want to make sure that you are providing that light. That one is a Dracaena Sandriana, and then we've got a strawberry begonia. The pink variety, the one that you saw, is a variegated form of the strawberry begonia. These are really nice starter plants for $4.99. So if you want a $4.99 starter plant, you can get those. These are all assorted terrarium. They're calling them assorted terrarium plants, so they could be good for terrarium settings. I have only one terrarium, and that is literally a terrarium full of global green pothos growing in leca in one of my clear glass lampshades. So that one is, or lamps. That's one that I would probably show you on my Instagram once I get a really good picture of it. But you can see right over here, we just have so many beautiful plants. Love the dark foliage plants. I always talk about that purple passion plant. So I actually have one of these. I bought this a little while back as an exotic angel Costa Farms plant for $4.97 at the Walmart. I typically go out, which is the one off of Custer Road in North McKinney, Texas, right next to Highway 380. So for my plant foldies that are locals, you'll know where that is coming from. But you can see here, we just have so many beautiful plants. Now, this one is another dark foliage plant. I'm not 100% sure what this plant is. And that's the thing about these tiny plants. I wish that they would be able to give more plant IDs. That way, if you need to do research on plant care, you'll be able to find that, you'll be able to do a Google search or something. But you can see here, this is a Oxalis plant. I actually was thinking about getting this because it is more of the miniature variety one, and it's also dark. So, there's a couple of plant criteria that actually interest me, or I'm more prone to buying the plant, and that would be easy care plants. So a plant that can tolerate lower light conditions, a plant that doesn't really require a lot of water because I am what they call an underwaterer, a plant that has either dark foliage or colorful foliage. That's the reason why I like Coleus plants. That's the reason why I love Aglaonemas. That is the reason why I like these dark foliage plants, like these purple passion plant right here, for instance. So those are just some of my criteria. It doesn't matter whether they're an aroid, a philodendron, an indoor plant, or a more outdoor plant. As long as they have that type of criteria, I will end up buying it and growing it in my plant collection. I mean, you can even see right over here, we've got some beautiful Tradescanthia. Then, there are so many different varieties of Tradescanthia. The only drawback about Tradescanthia, and I've mentioned this in many of my videos, is certain varieties get very leggy. And so you have to constantly cut it back in order for it to really promote some more growth. So that's the only drawback about Tradescanthia. The one Tradescanthia I think does very well and stays pretty compact and is pretty stable would be the Tradescanthia Nanook, and it's also a pink plant. So, that's another thing. I love pink plants. Now, if you notice, I am pulling up a lot of these dark foliage plants. Now, this is another type of Alternanthera, I think, maybe. So please leave in the comments if you know what this particular plant ID is. Now, what I like about this plant is it has a more unique texture on the plants. Typically, I don't like those very thin, very fine texture plants. I like more bold, more widespreading type leaves. Like this one right here, beautiful Palea Pan Am, for instance. I like those types of plants versus the other plants that I've picked up that are a little bit more thin and dainty. You can see here, this is a starter plant of Syngoniums. I love Syngoniums. Truth be told, I mentioned that Syngoniums were my favorite plant to grow. At the end of the day, I think Syngoniums are going to be one of my favorite plants to grow because it is a plant that I grew as a kid. My first indoor house plant was actually a Syngonium. It was a Syngonium white butterfly, and I actually grew that Syngonium in a bathroom that did not have windows, and for some reason, it was still able to thrive. So really interesting that how some plants may not necessarily have the best conditions, but they still find a way to live and grow. Here is a Hydra Helix. I love me some Hydra Helix. That one is the Hydra Helix Gold Baby. And then over here, as we walk past all of those starter plants, we have a variety of different types of orchids. So you can see right here, this is a Philodendron orchid, which is a common one that you'll find. But North Haven Gardens has so many different types of specialty orchids. Now, I don't know a lot about orchid species. Again, this is another learning journey for me when it comes to like orchids. But what I will say about orchids is I know that they have Vanda orchids, Dendrobium orchids, and Phalaenopsis orchids, or that's the ones I am a little bit more aware of. Me coming from the Philippines, my family's from the Philippines, one particular Vanda orchid that I really think everybody should look for is what they call the waling. So I'll spell it for you. W-A-L-I-N-G, W-A-L-I-N-G. It is one of the most beautiful Vanda orchids there. Some people want that to be the national flower of the Philippines. It is endangered, and what's sad about it is you have to be able to protect that. You know, there's a lot of plant poaching that happens when it comes to like certain plants. I mean, that's just prevalent all around the world, but that is an orchid that is definitely endangered. It is definitely beautiful, and I hope that you guys might take the time to check it out. Let me know in the comments what you think about the waling. The national flower of the Philippines is called the sampaguita, or the Arabian jasmine, but some people also say that the waling should be recognized as the national flower of the Philippines. Either way, it is beautiful. I think you guys should definitely check it out. And as you can see here, I'm going to walk back again and just show you all of these beautiful Especia or flame violets. And then you can see right here, Monstera Thai constellation. Now these ones are for $100.99. Beautiful Monstera Thai constellations. It has some pretty good variegation. Now with Monstera Thai constellations, what I do like about it is it has stable variegation. So the plant will never really revert to just full green. Will I say that, will it give you some of that sectoral white variegation? Not necessarily, but every leaf is always going to have that speckling variegation. So it's one of those things where certain plants have unstable variegation, and you really have to work at keeping it, like by cutting it back. I would say like Syngonium albo, for instance. Beautiful variegation, but once it starts to get green leaves back to back, you have to cut it back in order for it to promote that variegation. And also, if it gets too many white leaves, you have to cut it back. So that's the thing I like about Monstera Thai constellation. You don't ever really have to worry about it reverting one way or the other. It's got some very stable variegation. And then you can see here a lot of hanging baskets. We saw some neon pothos, Philodendron heteroecium, Brazil, and then we have this in a case. Now these ones I believe are for $69.99 or $69.99. These are some more Monstera Thai constellations. Now I do think that is a little bit pricey. I would even consider getting this big Monstera Thai constellation for $199. That is a pretty good price, but I will plug that Costa Farms has just released their trending tropicals Monstera Thai constellation at select locations. I am still hoping that I will run into a Costa Farms Monstera Thai constellation. It's not that I don't have Monstera Thai constellations in my plant collection. I think part of my plant shopping is also being able to find the plant at a big box store. I don't know if that sounds silly, but plant foldies, you know, let me know in the comments if you just like to go check to see what plants they are. I always find it like a big victory if I go into, say, a grocery store like Kroger and find like a Philodendron Ring of Fire or that Monstera Thai constellation. Like that was a huge hit, and it was only for $29.99 when I remember finding the Monstera Thai constellations. I just recently shipped out a Monstera Thai constellation for a plant giveaway I did on Instagram. So if you are watching this and you want a really cool variegated Philodendron domesticatum, a really nice looking one, please go to my Instagram at Growfolds. Check out the Instagram reel that features the free plant giveaway. and you'll be able to enter yourself multiple times for that random drawing for another free plant. I'm going to be doing that quite often just because I want to spread some of the love, you know, be able to spread some of the plants that I've been able to find successfully for a pretty cost-effective price. And you can see here plant foldies, as I've talked about my plant giveaway, that they have a bunch of these beautiful bird's nest ferns. Bird's nest ferns can get fairly large. Love the look of these bird's nest ferns. You can see that they have different types of textures. And what I love about bird's nest fern as well is they can get fairly large. So if you want a plant that has that beautiful just green foliage, I would definitely recommend a bird's nest fern. I've heard that they are a little bit easier of a fern to take care of. I mean, you can see right over here, this one has some larger sizes of bird's nest fern. This one is in a 6-inch planter, but take a look at that. Let's see how much it costs. $24.99 for a bird's nest fern. I don't have any current fern in my collection. Like, I don't have any of them currently in my collection, but if I were to get a fern, I most likely would get a bird's nest fern. I definitely wouldn't get a maidenhair fern, which is one of the ferns that I showed earlier. That's just a little bit more challenging of a plant. You know, that's the thing about certain plants. You just don't necessarily have that right environment. And when you don't have that right environment, it is just more challenging of a plant to take care of. This one right here is an Enjoy pothos, or an Epipremnum aureum Enjoy. I love Enjoy pothos. And you can see that this is literally an Enjoy pothos because you can see that the leaves have that high contrast in variegation. We just have white and green variegation. There isn't any speckling with it. And that's the thing about Enjoy pothos. Sometimes the Enjoy pothos is mistakenly mentioned as a pearls and jade, or a pearls and jade pothos is called an Enjoy pothos. But this one is a legitimate Enjoy pothos. What I would say about this Enjoy pothos is it is one of the slowest growing pothos plants out of all of the Epipremnum aureum. It does need some bright indirect light, but it doesn't necessarily revert as well. It's just very slow growing, very small leaves, but you know, it's a beautiful plant. It's another plant that you could light up a darker space in your area with. And then speaking of darker spaces, ZZ plants. Now this one is for $100 and $129.99. This one is another beautiful large plant that tolerates lower light conditions. And then look at the trunk on this Dracaena mesangiana. So you talk about Dracaenas. This is a very mature form in terms of just how old it must be because it has such a woody texture about it. Dracaenas and ZZ plants, very easy to care for plants. Here is another type of Dracaena. And what I love about Dracaena is look at the coloration on Dracaenas. I currently have 4 Dracaenas in my collection. My favorite one though is the Dracaena Tornado, and that one just has a really unique looking growth pattern to it. But you can see here, this one is also not a bad price at all for $129.99. Look at how beautiful that is. There are 3 Dracaenas here, and then we've got some type of Alocasia right here, large form. This one right here is a Ficus Ali. Now with ficus plants, they all need bright light. If you don't give them enough light, they will riot. They will throw a fit. They will drop their leaves. They just won't do well. So you just have to make sure that your ficus plants, whether it is a rubber tree plant or even the Ficus Ali, gets enough bright indirect light. Here we've got a Piper crocatum. I think that's how you pronounce it. This one right here is a beautiful plant as well. This one is an uncommon plant. This one is for $24.99. I really like that pink speckling on the leaves as well. That would be another plant I would consider getting. I just don't know a lot about it. I do see that it looks like it wants to like climb up something or attach onto something. Leave it in the comments if you know a lot about Piper plants. I would love to know what you guys think or what the plant care tips are. And then we've got a bunch of peace lilies or spathiphyllums, another classic, easy to care for plant. The only thing about spathiphyllum is it is one of the most thirsty plants. So if you don't water it, it will look like it's about to die. But then when you water it, I like give it an hour or 2 later, it's back to life. So it's one of those revival plants. I always say it's one of those, oh, it looks like it's about to die, and you can literally revive it with just some water. Here we've got a bunch of proven winners, hybrids of Rex begonia. So these are the proven winner line. These ones are all for $9. $9.99 at North Havens, and you can see they've got so many different varieties. What I love about Rex begonias, and some people will say that, you know, they've gotten themselves in a rabbit hole with Rex begonias. I almost did, but I was able to get out of that rabbit hole. And the only reason why I say this is I realize that Rex begonias may not be the best plant for me, just because I can be a little bit negligent on my plant. These plants do require more attention in terms of just like the watering. You don't want it to dry out completely, or that's what I was told, but you also don't want to overwater it. So there's just a fine balance of like when you should water a Rex begonia. They also need bright indirect light. You don't want to give them too much light though, because they will end up burning. I ended up getting a angel wing begonia though from Dr. Delphine's, which is another local plant nursery out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So that is really one of two begonias I have. I have a begonia maculata, and I have a angel wing begonia. And then I also have those wax begonias, but I don't really consider them to be these types of begonias. Wax begonias are really meant to grow outdoors for their flowers. But you can see right over here, all of these beautiful begonias available at North Havens. It's an absolutely beautiful plant that you can take care of though. And then they also have philodendron. So they have a philodendron El Choco Red for $29.99. I really like the look of the philodendron Choco Red. I regret not buying the smaller variety of it for $9.99. So our Plant Foldy viewer subscriber Steven of I Lift Plants was able to buy some really cool philodendrons. Like I was looking for the philodendron Columbia. It has a really nice texture on the leaves, but you can see here this one is a philodendron El Choco Red, and it looks almost like a large leaf version of a philodendron micans. This one wants to grow up a pole. It will get larger leaves, and it is another plant that is velvety, meaning you want to make sure that you look for spider mites. For some reason, the velvety type philodendrons end up being more prone to spider mites. And then obviously we have a beautiful philodendron Birkin here. Philodendron Birkin is a beautiful plant as well. I really like the look of a philodendron Birkin. It's got some nice striping right here, and it's just gorgeous. Really like the look of the philodendron Birkin. It is more of a common philodendron for sure. They are readily available at a lot of big box stores. And then you can see here Philodendron Ring of Fire, and this one is one that you will definitely see at many big box stores and grocery stores. Look at that variegation though on this Philodendron Ring of Fire. I would say with Philodendron Ring of Fire, you want to be more selective, and let's see, this one is for $39.99. Now I would say you would most likely want to buy this at a big box store like Walmart. They offer that as well in that size. And then right over here, we've got a Philodendron Micans. I'm not going to try to pull it out because there's only a couple in the tray. These are for $24.99 in a 6-inch planter. It is a philodendron that a lot of people love, including myself. And then you can see over here at North Havens, we also have this beautiful neon yellow philodendron called Philodendron Ceylon Beauty. I thought it was a lemon lime, but I actually am tempted to buy this plant right here. I believe this one is for like what, $9.99. Yep, not a bad price at all for a Philodendron Ceylon Beauty. I love those neon color plants. It is another interest of mine. And then we have a bunch of Philodendron Golden Violin. This one needs a little bit more bright indirect light for it to get that golden color. Either way, it is a beautiful plant. It has so many aerial roots ready to go, and you can cut it up and propagate it in water. And then you can see right here, this large philodendron is a Philodendron Shangri-La. Now this one is also known as, I think some people will call it a Tomathophyllum. Please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but that is a large foliage philodendron. This one can get very large, so if you do not have the space for it, I wouldn't necessarily recommend buying this plant. Now this one is only for $39.99. That is a really good deal for such a large philodendron already. It will definitely give you a jungle vibe if you want to just have one statement piece like that in a space. And as I pull away over here, you can see we've got a lot of other plants. That's the thing about North Haven Plant Foldies. You know, I like to take a little bit more time with my plant shopping video. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for continuing to watch this video, as well as hitting that like button. I really hope that you've already hit the like button and even left some comments as you watch this video. It definitely helps my YouTube channel grow. I'm hoping that we can get to 10,000 subscribers soon. We're getting close. We're about to reach over 9,600 subscribers, getting close to that 9,700. So those simple acts of just hitting the like button watching the video all the way through and leaving comments definitely helps me out. You can see right here, there are Aglaonemas, and I love Aglaonema. So notice this Aglaonema is for $29.99. The roots are very established. You can see that they're popping out of the drainage holes. This is the Aglaonema Osaka White. The earlier Aglaonema I picked up is also very similar, like as in they could be the same plant unless they didn't have a plant label. That one was in Aglaonema Wintry White. I don't know if the Osaka White just has a little bit more white to it, but either way, those are the very similar plants. They just have different plant names. This one right here might just have a little bit less white. This one's also for $29.99, and this is the Wintry Wine Aglaonema. Now, Aglaonema are one of the easiest plants to take care of because they can tolerate lower light conditions, they can tolerate drought, but the only drawback is they are a slow grower. So that's the only drawback for Aglaonemas. But otherwise, I've been able to successfully import some Aglaonemas. You know, I have an import license, and I was able to do that in the middle of winter of all times to actually import a plant. I wouldn't recommend it, but I found a really good seller that was able to get me my plant. If you ever want to check out that video, it is in one of my older videos, but you can see the process of me importing some really cool looking Aglaonemas. You can see right here, this is another proven winners, Alocasia right here. Love the texture of it. And you know, with Alocasias, the good thing about Alocasias is you can take the corms. Like if you don't do well with an Alocasia, you can just let it dry out completely. Let it go dormant, and you can just start over and try to let it to grow back. I actually had an Alocasia Regina that pretty much died all the way back. I just let it dry out completely, watered it, and then like either the corm that it had grew back or the plant actually grew back. I saw some signs of life, and now I brought the the Alocasia outside in an outdoor patio, and it's doing very well. And that's what I would recommend plant folies. These plants are a little bit more finicky. They need a little bit more humidity. They're spider mite prone, but if you grow them in an outdoor situation where they're outside in a shaded patio, they'll get that ambient humidity as well as natural predators to get rid of spider mites. I've noticed that my Alocasia variegated odora that was really struggling indoors has now pushed out so many new leaves. I'm super excited. Hopefully I can pot it up in a larger pot. But you can see here, Alocasia Jacqueline, what a beautiful Alocasia. I ended up buying one from Trending Tropicals Costa Farms. It just didn't do well for me. I don't know if this is another Alocasia that's just one of those finicky ones. And this is one that I would love to get in my collection. This one's for $49.99. This is an Alocasia camouflage. I can't pronounce the full name, but notice how beautiful the variegation is. You want to find an Alocasia that while this one leaf has a lot of variegation, you want some more greens and a balance. Otherwise, it becomes more of a challenging plant to grow because it doesn't have enough chlorophyll to really photosynthesize. And you can see right there, we've got some more of that. That is a beautiful variegated Alocasia. We've got some Monstera adansonii over here. And then we've also got one right here. We've got a beautiful Philodendron Prince of Orange, nice looking Philodendron Prince of Orange. And then we've got another Dracaena. We've got another Chiflera or umbrella plant, Trini. I think that's how you pronounce it. But this is one I actually am growing in full sun outdoors, and it is doing fabulous. The leaves are not burning at all. I mean, that is considered more of a tropical shrub anyways, but it is a plant that I bought for like $7.99 at Home Depot, and it is getting as large as that. It was a smaller plant at the beginning of the season. And over here, we've got some Ficus elastica ruby. These ones are for $24.99. I do love the look of Ficus elasticas or just rubber tree plants. They do need a lot of bright light. I'm actually growing mine in full sun and it's doing fairly well. I ended up buying them at Trader Joe's. I'm not even going to lie. If you go to Trader Joe's, you can find them for $12.99 instead. So that's the thing, plant folies. I will always tell you where the best plant pricing is, but it doesn't mean that you don't necessarily have to buy the plant. If you go to a local nursery, especially in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and you like the plant, you don't have to like go to a specific location to get a cheaper plant. Just buy the plant. You know, sometimes buying the plant, if that brings you happiness, I would just recommend that. Now, this is an Alocasia Hilo Beauty for $39.99. I love the look of this Alocasia. Oftentimes people will say this is a Caladium. But it is a beautiful Alocasia. Look at that green on green variegation. It's one that I definitely want to grow in my collection. I would love to grow it indoors, but a lot of my plant nursery friends that work at nurseries say that that is a plant that really just needs to grow outdoors. It's one that wouldn't successfully not go dormant in the winter. So that's a plant I'm just kind of holding off from getting. Here is a Dracaena. I love these. Their Dracaenas are $11.99. I ended up buying one already, but this is one that I am probably going to end up buying today. I actually had the intent to buy this Dracaena just because look at how compact this particular Dracaena is. It almost looks like a Janet Craig compacta, and you can see that the roots are super root bound. I think I'm going to end up buying this one. Look at that. Like, I'm going to have to repot that in a 6.5-inch planter, but either way, you can tell that these have been growing very well. They've been growing in very good conditions. You can see that the roots are still moist, so it just got recently watered. And this is another plant that I want because this one is actually one that stays a little bit more compact. Dracaenas come in different varieties and they can grow it to different sizes, but this is one that I want to get because it has more of a compact shape. Same thing with that Dracaena marginata right here. This one gets a little bit larger. This one is for $24.99. I do love the look of it. Look at that beautiful variegation that it has. It would be really interesting to see the sun hit that. Morning sun would just give it some beautiful illumination on it. And then you can see right over here, this is a Dracaena Janet Craig compacta for $6.99. Again, a common Dracaena that you'll find at big box stores. It's one of the easiest plants to grow. A plant that's not quite easy to grow is this dieffenbachia cheetah, but look at that beautiful variegation. Look at those patterns on those green leaves. I can see why it's called a cheetah. It does kind of remind me of that type of fur texture. Really love the pattern, but you can see here these are for $49.99. Notice how it is a little bit leggy and caney. That's basically what Dracaenas end up not Dracaenas, dieffenbachias end up looking like. Now with dieffenbachias like this one right here, it is not pet friendly. So if you have like a furry friend or even young children, I would be cautious about having that plant around because you don't want that plant to be, it's not necessarily, it's just toxic. So you just have to be careful like that. You also, now if you're looking for a pet friendly plant, all of these plants, these Calatheas are pet friendly and children friendly. They're just not friendly to the plant lover. And what I mean by that is they just are very big divas. So you already know with Calatheas, they have beautiful foliage, but then when you take them home after 2 weeks, if you don't get them high humidity, consistent watering that, water that's actually not from the tap, they may end up browning up and crisping. Now I did recently get this beautiful Calathea right there. Or not Calathea, that is a Thenanthe plant for 50% off at Lowe's. I ended up just repotting it, so I will show you that on Instagram. Take a photo of it or something. And then here is a peperomia Ecuador. What a beautiful looking peperomia as well. It is it looks like a watermelon peperomia. It's a pretty funky looking one, but you can see right here we've got a Thenanthe plant right there. I love that green on green variegation. Now Thenanthes are a little bit easier to grow than say a Calathea. They're almost in the same prayer type family, but they're a little bit more forgiving. I do like the look of this. So plant folies, let me know what you think about this particular plant. Again, I love all the comments. So if you're hearing me, if you're watching me, please make sure you are leaving comments. It just really motivates me to keep making plant shopping videos and also hitting the like button. But you can see that they have a lot of different varieties of Calatheas as well. I have told myself I will not be buying Calatheas. Calatheas got me once earlier this year. My Calathea Makuyana didn't do very well, but that's really more so because I didn't invest the time to take care of the plant. That is the thing about certain plants. You just figure the reward versus the care. Sometimes you have to balance that. Like if you have to put in so much effort in a particular plant, is it really worth it? For me, Calatheas are beautiful, but unless I grow them in straight water, it is a plant that I have just kind of avoided buying. I just like looking and admiring them whenever I go big box store plant shopping. But as you can see here, North Havens just has so many plants, and you got to think that this particular area is just their indoor plant. I could go into further detail on the outdoor plants, but I don't want to make this video too long. I do prefer at least a minimum of 1 hour plant shopping videos. Sometimes my local plant nursery videos end up being like an hour and a half. Most of my compilation marathon videos will be about 2 hours, but I purposely did that because I want to make sure that we have quite a bit of time to to really watch it during a live premiere. That way we can chat. But for my plant foldies that love succulents and cactus, Kathy from Canada, you already know I think about you whenever I do some of these succulent features. I'm going to show you guys a little bit more of the succulents. Now these are Aeoniums right here for $9.99. You see that it's got more of that roseate look to it. I really love Aeoniums. I talk about them often, and the reason why I love Aeoniums is because they have that beautiful coloration. Like today, I didn't really intend to spend $9.99, but I'm going to buy this Aeonium. I don't know the plant ID for this particular Aeonium, but I do love that it has that pink variegation. You know, pink plants for me, whether they're a succulent or not, you will always get me to buy a pink plant because of it. I really like the look of that. Like this one right here is another type of Aeonium. You can see that it's got a little bit larger foliage on it. This has a little bit of cosmetic damage, so I may not get this one, but this one is also for $9.99. Now, the thing about Aeoniums is I didn't realize that this particular succulent doesn't really like hot conditions, and this particular Aeonium has a dormancy period, and that is during the summertime. So if you see your Aeoniums, especially in North Dallas, not doing as well, it's because they're going into a dormancy season for the summer. I should have listened to the lady that I talked to at Plant Con in Houston, and she sold some rare type succulents. She says that she grows her succulents outdoors, but when it's summertime, she kind of brings them in a shaded area that gets still a lot of light. But I didn't realize that you can't just take these Aeoniums or these succulents out and put them in full sun. So what I'm going to do with my Aeoniums is actually grow them indoors, but I'm going to grow them at a west facing side so they still get quite a bit of light, and we'll take it from there. But you can see here we've got some string of pearls, just a regular variety. Some people aren't really into the string of pearls. I like the look of string of pearls. They remind me of my home country, which is the Philippines. They are known for some beautiful pearls. The Philippines is also known as the Pearl of the Orient. So as you guys can see, we've got these. This is a Aeonium kiwi that I killed, but I'm going to end up buying this particular one for sure. Look at how it gets these clusters. Look at how pink it is. What do you guys think about this Aeonium right here, plant foldies? Would you buy it? I'm definitely buying it just because it has some nice pink variegation on it. And I kind of learned my lesson. You don't want to also top water your Aeoniums or your succulents. So I definitely want to just either bottom water them or water just the surface of the soil versus actually getting them wet. I should have known better, because if you let water sit on your succulents, they end up getting them to rot. And then on top of it, like actually growing outside in full sun, Texas sun, it probably like boiled them because the water probably just got too hot. So just little situations like that, I just wanted to make sure that I was more aware of. But today I am going to buy at least 2 of those Aeoniums. These ones are the starter ones. I believe these are a little bit cheaper, but I kind of want instant gratification. Look at how pretty that is. So plant foldies, what do you think about my favorite succulent? These are Aeoniums. I think they're super adorable. They can get large. One place that I really got into it, Aeoniums, and when I first saw them were actually at Carmel by the Sea in California. They had all of these Aeoniums growing in people's yards, in their front landscapes, and they were just growing rampant and wild. So I would assume that California just has some really good growing conditions for that particular succulent. And you can see here, we've got some more succulents. So that's the thing about succulents. More research is needed for me to really learn about succulents. And that's the reason why I do these plant shopping videos, to encourage people to leave comments, leave your insights about certain plants. It is a community at Growfold. It's a growing community, and I couldn't, be more thankful again for all of you guys just tuning in and just wanting to listen to me talk about plants, talk about some of what's going on with my personal life. I am super excited that I will be going to the Philippines. I will be showing you guys a lot of interesting plants. I will even give you plant pricing. So stay tuned for that. I fly off in, June, the later part of June. I literally have about 13 or 14 more days before I take off, but there's so many things I have to do for my job to get it prepped. And there were some things that kind of transpired that kind of put a wrench in some of my plans. I am trying to learn how to control what I can control and not stress about the things that are out of my hand. I just have to show up and do the things that I need to do in order to just get through the day and still have like a satisfying experience at my job. You know, if you ask me what my dream job would be, and that would be to be more involved with plants, but I don't really have like a botanist degree. You know, a lot of people think that I have such knowledge on it, but it's really over decades of just learning and growing plants. I've seen a lot of you guys actually give me a lot more insights in terms of plants, and I appreciate that. But that's the thing about this, this whole journey, this whole YouTube, you know, making YouTubes and stuff, you know, there are times where I was a little bit discouraged, but then you guys always pick me up whenever I have a live premiere. You guys show up in full force at the live premiere chat. So if you are new to the channel and you actually happen to catch this video live, please make sure you are saying hello into the chats. We're seeing more and more people participate, and don't worry, I will be getting a Facebook page created so we can start putting faces to the names if you guys want. I don't know if you'll get a face reveal from me anytime soon, but at least for the community. And you can see here, I've shown you a lot of these plants. Look at this for $9.99. You've got a succulent arrangement in a 4-inch planter. That's actually a pretty good deal for succulent. So that one I would recommend if you just want a little succulent arrangement. I am just going to quickly pan over here and show you guys the cacti. I don't know anything about cacti, but what I do know is that they are an interesting look. I don't know if I could really grow cacti in my current home because I may not be able to provide it the best lighting conditions. So you'll have to definitely check that out and see if that's something that, you know, you'd be able to grow, or at least I'll be able to grow. And then you can just see that one is a really cool looking twisted one. I love the look of that actual cactus. And you can see that cactus have different textures in terms of their needles. Some of them are fuzzy and soft, and some of them are literally sharp needles. So you just have to watch out what kind of cactus you get. But look at over here. All of these cool looking cactus that you have. This one is a sticks of fire euphorbia. That is a cool looking euphorbia. And then we have all of these really cool looking cactus right over here. And what I love about cactus is when they actually bloom. Look at that beautiful pink bloom that they have on this particular cactus. Now with cactus again, you know, plant foldies, let me know what you like, what cactus you like, what your growing conditions are. These ones are for $39.99. That's not a bad price. I would actually buy it just because of how, you know, the blooms that it produces. So, and then this one right over here is a pretty cool looking one. This one's only for $24.99. So I don't want to create an obsession for cactus, but I could see myself easily doing that just because they have such cool looking cactus plants. But plant foldies, I will be ending this video pretty soon. But you know, let me know in the comments section what plants you've liked so far, what plants that you would grow if you would actually visit North Havens. If you visited North Havens, a lot of our plant foldies have been able to make it to North Havens. I actually met a plant foldie out here before doing a plant pop-up, and that's before I really started doing plant shopping videos daily. Channing, that was really cool that I was able to meet you there. And that's the thing, plant foldies, I would love to meet you guys in person. So if you are making it out to the Plant Con 2024, which is on August 31st, September 1st in Dallas, Texas, definitely shoot me a message on Instagram or let me know if you're going during the live premiere chats. We'll see how we can all meet up. I am hoping to make some t-shirts, Girlfuls t-shirts that I could have available for y'all. I have designed the Hydra Helix shirt, and that should be available for purchase. I hope to make a little merch shop. So let me know if you guys are interested in that, if you'd rock it out. I definitely worked pretty hard on some of those Hydra Helix t-shirts. It's just a matter of getting somebody to print them and make them. But as you can see here, we have a bunch of beautiful Hoyas. Now, the thing about Hoyas, they need a lot of bright and direct light. You don't want to put them in full sun. I thought you could actually put them in full sun, and then I learned from one of the managers actually out in North Havens that that's not a good idea. But as you can see here, this one's got more of that silver tone on it. I really love the look of that one as well. Really cool looking plant. And then we just have several different Hoyas available. I've got some more Hoyas right over here. Look at that for $29.99. Let me know what your favorite Hoya is, and the allure of Hoya for me would be if they can actually bloom. I have yet to see my Hoyas bloom. Perhaps one day my Hoya Crimson Princess and my Hoya Crimson or my Hoya carnosa tricolor may end up blooming. This is one of my favorite Hoyas. So this was for $69.99. It is a little bit pricey. I do like this Hoya Lisa. Look at how beautiful that variegation is, and look at how it is sun stressing. And for those that don't know the term sun stressing, it's basically when a plant gets a little bit more light than it can it can get light to where it's still able to handle it, but it'll give you some very better variegation and coloration. Here is a Hoya compacta right over here, or what you call a variegated Hindu rope. Beautiful plant as well. I would get this plant, but I'm afraid that if I ended up getting like a mealybug infestation, it would just be so challenging to get rid of that pest. These ones, I believe, are for $79.99 in a hanging basket. So it is a little bit of a pricey plant. I would love to be able to get one of these right here. The only thing about this particular Hoya too is it is a very slow growing plant. So, you know, that's the thing about Hoyas. They're not necessarily the most vigorous growers. Some of them are, but the Hoya compacta is not. And then you can see right over here, we have another type of Hoya. This one I think is for $24.99. So lots of Hoyas and growing in hanging baskets. And as I pan away over here, you can see that North Havens is another local plant nursery I would recommend going to, the big, in Dallas. So as always, plant folies, please make sure you are hitting that like button. I really would appreciate it, as well as leaving many comments for my video today. I will have another big box or plant shopping video tomorrow. This is Richie at Growfold. Have a good day, a good evening, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.